Now I'll hand over to the Deputy Governor of Kwara State for his own contribution on this topic.
Chairman of this retreat, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. When I was wondering what my governor will be asked to discuss when the architect of success in Kwara State is already seated. When His Excellency, distinguished Senator and former chairman of NGF, came to Kwara State, and he was putting a hoe on his shoulders, I did not know that what he saw then is still what we shall be discussing today, which is agriculture. But you can see how some people see things far away, and they turn out to be the main issue. A lot has been discussed, even through the lectures, and that is why when you look at what little we can say again, is in the area of probably, as the chairman said, the problems posed by maybe our traditional buyers refusing to buy or changing gear in their buying system. I hope the Lagos State Governor will please remember that the tomatoes from the north are still going to be the impetus we need to keep producing. And I hope Oyo State will not stop buying yams and elubo. But the thing is that what makes us to keep producing is because there are buyers. Once we don't have buyers, this definitely is going to affect production. And I was told that usually governments do something, especially, I don't know whether it is the federal or the state, but in the developed world, there is this arrangement to buy surplus. It is our hope that our governments will get to this level so that whatever is produced is going to be bought up. I know in Kwara State, according to how far we have gone now, there is good production of milk, good production of poultry. And this has been successful because the arrangement with our partners is to make sure that we produce the necessary feed that will be used to produce this milk from the animals, and also the poultry. And cassava is grown, maize is grown, soya bean is grown, and the feeds are produced. If we continue to be encouraged to do this, I think it will go a long way to increase our export. And that is the success story in Kwara State. I also believe that the raw materials that we need for this kind of production, as long as they are in the increase, for example, if feeds are produced and our herdsmen are taught to use this feed, probably a lot of problems leading to local herdsmen going about with their animals looking for food will be eradicated, and the conflicts that we are facing can be minimized. I also look at some of the problems that are coming up in the area of funding. The reason why states make bold effort to go into farming is because of the singular capacity of this industry, helping us to solve the problem of unemployment. But as we can see, through the lectures we have received, the industry is capital intensive. you can see what it entails to raise the money needed in order for you to go into commercial farming. And as we have been told now, if you must go beyond just providing food for the family and feeding probably your community, and going to the level of export, the kind of funds that are needed to get to this level is not small money. And for states that are not very rich, one can see why some states can do it. Others that don't have as much money are just being bold. Consider even the infrastructure alone. To get to the level of commercial farming, the farmers need access roads and other infrastructural facilities. To get this kind of money, unless the state is really very bold, it's not an easy venture. So all this, we expect that the federal government will help us to really address and encourage states that we go into commercial agriculture to be able to perform to the level that this country can move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Kwara State. I think to begin to summarize the discussion this morning, I think there are some points that have come out this morning that I think for Your Excellencies to take away with you, both from the presenters and discussants. Largely one on the fact that the federal government has an agricultural transformation agenda in place, but it is very clear that this agenda can only achieve its full potential in an environment where there is synergy between the states and the federal government. And it's been said that presently there's lack of that synergy. I think there has to be some kind of forum that enables that synergy and cooperation between the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and the states, not only at the commissioner level, but I also believe at the level of the governors, a forum by which some of these transformation agenda at the national level can also be keyed in at the subnational level. I think that was one of the points that came out. Also, is how do we monitor some of these policies at the state level? Some of the policies that have been put in at the state level, how do we check to see that they are on course or they need slight adjustments? The other point that was raised, which was important, was the how do we support private sector participation and less federal government and state participation. Then when we went to talk about the issues of unlocking the agri-value chain, I think the answer that came out there largely was that yes, as a country we can do it. We have all what it takes to be able to do it. We have the untapped irrigation, we have the number of the youth available to do it. And the fact that also that the beauty of agriculture is that we can really achieve three in one. There's food security, job creation to address the youth, and wealth creation as well. The question was also, what are we doing at subnational level as incentives? We've heard the incentives that federal government is doing. What are the incentives at the subnational level? And then also was to look at the issue of long-term policies that will go beyond 4 years of how do we encourage private sector participation. Some of the issues also was to address the issue of youth employment in agricultural programs, and there was need for that. And also, how do we work with the research centers in order to increase yields, particularly something like cassava that we can even be doing more, and how can we have policies that will stimulate the consumption side and invariably stimulate the production side. Then the most important thing was the issue of how do we change the mindset of people, particularly the youth, towards farming. How do they begin to see farming as a business as opposed to a developmental project? And there's no doubt that in achieving that, it must go back to the states, because there's the states and local government that are the grassroots level that can engage the youth in this process. The lot of energy that is being expended at the federal government level, it will translate to quicker results if at the subnational level there's a serious buy-in. I think that's one of the major issues. And then how do we have a market-oriented strategy? And the only way we can have a market-oriented strategy is for us to begin to have products on the value chain. That is, for example, if we take on starch, we have talked about how we can use that in cassava flour, how we can use that in the issue of alcohol, how we can use cassava as a primary produce, and in such way, by doing that, again, we will stimulate the production. And then the final speaker, his own was very interesting, where he raised a lot of issues regards how, at the end of the day, we must boost domestic consumption, we must reduce food imports, improve on infrastructure, and incentives to producers. That the major issues is that the resources need to be properly managed, and and that the issues that at the end of the day, there is the possibility for us to stimulate agric. But the key issue is that the weak institutions, leadership, and also policies are the reasons for this. I think at the end of these presentations, we must commend both the presenters who have given us a very good briefing on both the issue of activity in our states and also on the issue of the value chain. And also I thank the two discussants, Excellency Deputy Governor of Oyo and Kwara State. I think we have gone beyond our time and we have eaten into all corruption and other time. But I believe that food security as well is as important as the other items today. I want to thank you all for the patience you've had, despite the interruptions we've had this morning, for a very useful and very important topic. And I hope that in the end of this, we're better educated and we'll be able to also go back and review some of the policies in different states to ensure the improvement of agri-production in our great country. Once again, I thank the discussants, I thank the presenters, and I thank your excellencies for your patience and time. Thank you very much.